Alright, welcome to a new series called The Rulers of the Dark. This is a series that you can probably guess who the main characters are. I do want to see y'all guess in the comments who you think this series is focused on, but today we're starting off with the Living Abyss chapter featuring the one and only Knull. Now before I get started here, if you like showcase videos like this, you like series like this, be sure to subscribe because I am on the road to 19,000 and I cannot get there without y'all's help. But now let's talk about the man of the hour, Knull. And of course this is just an introductory video. I will have super showcases for every character in the Rulers of the Dark series. And yeah, even just the appetizer for Knull. You see that this champion really hasn't lost a step. And it's just insane because this champion does so much. And characters like Knull that are kind of old, right? He's from 2021. He's definitely been here for a bit. They had a lot to offer back in their prime, right? And usually champions like this, they just don't mesh well with the 2025 meta. But that's just not the case with Knull at all because he is still so good. And like for example, instead of clinging on to his old matchup spread, he has gained new matchups as time has progressed. He is insane for Yelena. This was a 47-second takedown. That is absurd. He does it faster than some of her best counters. And that by default means that he is one of the best counters to Yelena. He is a very safe option. Now we have this Red Skull here. Of course, one of these safer Knull matchups. It's a tech character. Knull kind of still owns the tech class. Zola is a toss-up because sometimes it just doesn't go your way, but he can do that fight. I just opted not to showcase it here because I want to showcase what he's truly best for in an introduction video, because keep in mind this isn't the full thing, right? This is just the appetizer for Knull, and like I said, the appetizer, it's still some really good stuff, dude. And yeah, this fight's done, like just like that. And so now we go for a combo after this, we go for the relic, and we get this fight done in 33 seconds. So yeah, his matchup times are really crazy. They are really fast, and people call this champion a ramp up champion. There is like no ramp up, right? His damage output is just good all the time. That's how this champion is. He's a really fast character, and it mainly is because of the Sig 200. And I do always showcase my champions at Sig 200, and I know it sometimes gets some flack, but let me tell you, he is genuinely max Sig on the live server for me. Like, he's rank 4 Sig 200 because he is just that good, right? I have pushed plenty of times in Battlegrounds, like Celestial 4 and higher, and like Knull is my secret weapon, pretty much. I don't mind saying it now because I'm pretty much retired from Battlegrounds, but yeah, Knull is like, he's the reason I have gotten so many good placements, right? Because he really just does it all. He does a Bullseye in 40, right? That's insane. That's insanely good stuff. Now we have this Mr. Sinister. You'd be like, oh, surely he doesn't work for this, right? Because you can't bleed him. You can't really reduce his healing with Despair because you can't really activate Despair on this character. But the answer is no. He's actually very good for Mr. Sinister, and it's because of that Awakened ability. But like I was saying, I do have this character Sig 200 on the main account, and it genuinely is one of the best uses for Sig Stones in the Cosmic class because his signature ability just makes him so much faster in these scenarios. And additionally, it has this really cool trick that you're about to see here. So we go for some intercepts into the relic, then after this we go for the SP2, and yeah, he is regenning all those crits, right? That sucks. I hate that part, obviously. But then, once he drops to 50% health, those crits that he's regenning from, yeah, the regen turns into degen, because that is Knull's Awakened ability. So now we get to do extra damage on the crits, and yeah, just like that. The first half took a bit, the second half made it a sub 1 minute fight still, so that is really good stuff. His Awakened ability, what it does is, you get to start the fight with 15 Living Abyss charges at max Sig. Additionally, whenever the opponent gains a regen while they're corrupted and below 50% health, it gets turned into a degen instead. So Mr. Sinister just gets completely hard countered at that point. It's a really, really fun interaction. But now we have this MODOK fight, and I'm pretty sure MODOK is bugged because I'm pretty sure when the auto block fails, it's supposed to go on cooldown, but it just doesn't. So you have to play this like only medium attacks, but it's like a really successful rotation still. It's a bit less damage than usual, but with the SP1 just consistently bringing back those armor breaks, even though you lose some because of the double mediums, you gain them back pretty much instantly. So it's a really, really good rotation overall. And yeah, for MODOK, it is absolutely perfect because he has 0 chance to auto block. It's a really, really nice time. Go for the SP1 one more time. Full yellow bar, auto block, never triggered. Beautiful, right? Beautiful stuff. This champion, look, this is Rulers of the Dark, right? You shouldn't really be calling these characters beautiful because they are quite evil, they are quite menacing. But there's a lot of beauty in this champion, I would say. I think he is one of the most fun champions to play in this game. He is just like absurdly overpowered as well. And so that means that there's a lot of talk about MCOC's power scaling being cooked, right? Because there is Dormammu who isn't all that. Then there's Kate Bishop with like an arrow that's just super, super insane. And then you see Knull and it's like, well, yeah, you know, it makes sense, right? He's the King in Black. He's one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. It makes sense that he is just this unfairly good because he is genuinely absurd, right? Like the fight times, the utility, what he has to offer for any account. It's just really, really insane stuff. And that was a 43 second future Ant-Man. But now let's dig into the act content real quick. And I have the Recoil Masteries active for the second half of the act content part of the showcase. So yeah, we're gonna get into the fun stuff real soon. But I do want to show you that this champion still has a ton of potential without the Recoil Masteries. And that's one thing that really caused players to write off this champion for a little bit, because there are some times when people are like, I don't see this character really doing well in a mode where like you can't use Recoil Masteries, right? And like I'm of course talking about Battlegrounds, but that's just not the case. His damage output is still absurd without anything, right? He just needs to have armor break and then that's it. And yeah, that Omega Sentinel had no chance whatsoever. That was like a, let's see, a 30-second 9.3 fight. I can't even wrap my head around that really, because it's 9.3. These are the highest health pools in act content. Surely it would take longer than 30 seconds, right? But no, it's insane, right? And that also goes to show that while this character has been deemed a ramp champion his entire life, he has some of the like fastest bursts in this game, really. The only ramp up is waiting for that corruption timer, but then once that is gone, that's really it. Like, fight's done. Fight is just completely done. And here we go for some mediums while the auto block is active, and then we do the light intercepts. And Knull has the best light intercept in the game. I don't care. I do not care if you disagree. It is the best in the game. And this damage is the best in the game. That is absurd. That SP2 is just unreal. There is the prowess, but still, that is just... It is insane how well he interacts with nodes and act content still, because like I said, 2021, usually characters fizzle out. This character hasn't lost a step. He is still absolutely beyond God tier. But like I was saying, his intercept is just so smooth. It is one of the smoothest things in this game. It makes his flow absolutely top tier. I would say it's nearly unmatched, because once you get your corruption up and they just cannot gain that much power, you get to just spam those intercepts, and it is quite possibly the most satisfying thing in this game. But yeah, now we go for the SP2 in just a second. And yeah, the SP2 of course just one-shots. Of course it does, because it's Knull. And yeah, Recoil Masteries are active now. I forgot to mention that, but they are active, and I don't think it makes like in this case, it doesn't make a big difference, right? Because there's Cosmic Fracture, and a champion like Knull's, of course, supercharged by something like Cosmic Fracture because he's already armor break at heart, right? So it just adds more armor break to a super crazy armor break champion. And yeah, the result is of course just some of the most broken damage in this game. Like, yeah, I like this character, man. He's just something else, and I really do love this character. He usually is in my top 10 when it comes to all-time favorites. I think I make the list every like couple of months, and he usually is at least top 10. He still makes the cut. But now we have this Viv Vision here. And this is one that I didn't really know what to expect, right? Because Bleed Immune, Viv Vision has like that power drain. I didn't expect a perfect result, but I do feel ashamed for ever doubting this champion because I really shouldn't doubt Knull when he's like this. And by this, I mean when he has his max sig, when he has his recoil masteries. This is like the pinnacle of the cosmic class. It does not get much better than this, dude. This damage output, this level of just versatility, it's so hard to match it. Like, really, I don't think Knull is still the best cosmic character. Obviously, there's a lot of just unfair cosmic champions these days, but I don't think it's crazy to call him a certified top 5, and I could really make an argument for top 3 because the numbers that he still puts up, it's just so stupid, man. It really is just, it's unbelievable still. I just cannot believe this champion just like hasn't lost a step, and that he's improved with his matchup spread. He hasn't lost any matchups. He hasn't fallen out of like relevancy, because even if he had no matchups, he still has some of the best defender potential because of inequity, because of reducing attack rating by 36%. And on top of that, the corruption. It's just, it is insane how good this character is still. I like it, just it boggles my mind. He shouldn't be a top 3 cosmic still, but I really think he is. But yeah, this matchup while I was talking just disappeared in like 40 seconds, because of course it did, man. Of course it disappeared. But now we have the main course, right? People always say this is what Knull was meant for, and I think that's been proven wrong over time. I don't think this champion is a ramp up champion. I think he excels in those burst scenarios, to be honest. But we have this Cyclops that has this node where whenever we try to hit him while he's stunned, he will evade. However, with our mediums that counter evade, it's just a cakewalk, right? And I haven't really expanded on this champion's utility yet, but like, where do I even start with that? He has the bleed and poison res, great for the recoil masteries for that reason. He also has the degen res. He also has true accuracy on his medium hits and his special 1 hits, so if necessary you can just spam that to counter auto block and evade, which is of course still very relevant to this day, proven with characters like MODOK still being in the mix. But then he has the Living Abyss, which in my opinion is the best form of armor control in this game, because it's not an armor break, it's not an armor shatter, it's not even a pulverize, it's just a removal, right? He removes the armor up. That is crazy. That is obviously crazy. And so yeah, it really just, it's insane, man. And of course the armor breaks, you'll have to depend on them eventually, but that Living Abyss utility is just so good. And then you have the corruption, which has the power reduction as well, and I think he is one of the better power controllers in this game. And yeah, it's just like genuinely absurd, man. But now we have the Throwback. Of course I have to mention the Throwback because this character, this is how he got popular, right? These fights are what made him popular. And then as time progressed, we discovered that, hey, a max sig Knull especially, but like even unduped is still a very, very good short fight character. But we learned that overall he's not just meant for these types of things, but it is important to revisit what made this character so well known. And it is of course Abyss, right? It's of course these types of modes that we really like needed an answer to, I would say, and Knull was the answer. He most definitely was. He provided absurd levels of damage after not even that long of ramp, right? Compared to other like ramp up champions that need like multiple fights to ramp up for this type of content. He just gets it done in one SP3, and of course at rank 4 Knull, he doesn't need much at all to just absolutely just rinse through this Iron Man here. But yeah, the damage output is looking very nice already. We're doing 51,000 mediums, 34,000 light attacks, and yeah, it's just like, it doesn't get much better than this, I'll tell you what. It's really good stuff. The Relic is joining in on the fun. We go for the SP2 in just a second, and the numbers are just so absurd, bro. But yeah, the fight's like pretty much concluded. There really isn't much to say here. He drops the SP2, we go for the Intercept, the clean light Intercept that I think is the best in the game. And yeah, the fight is just about over. And that was like a minute and 20, let's see. It was like a minute 26, I want to say. Yes, that's crazy. That is obviously crazy, right? But that's going to do it for the introduction of Knull and the introduction of this series. I'll feature, of course, multiple characters. All have a ton of potential and a ton of high value in not even just this game, but the Marvel Universe, right? That's why they're the rulers. And so it's going to be fun to talk about these champions, revisit them, showcase the new ones, right? That type of stuff. But let me know your thoughts on Rulers of the Dark and 7-star Knull. And yeah, that's about it for me.